Welcome to the Stack Supplement Podcast, the premier source for supplement news and reviews.
Thank you for tuning into another episode of the Stack Supplement Podcast. With us today is the man behind Apollon Nutrition with Robert or Robic. Introduce yourself, please.
Either one will work.
Yeah, okay.
I guess Robert, but lately everybody's calling me Robic for some reason. Hey, guys.
So, just to, kick things right off, Apollon is definitely, at least in my opinion, one of the more hardcore brands on the market. It's made a huge impact over the past year or so. A lot of its supplements have become just extremely well known. You got Hooligan, and you got the return of Assassin that just kind of hit the market. Instead of doing, I guess, like a rundown or a history or a brief introduction, I think we should just do, basically, how about you just go over the plans for the coming year, because 2020, the first year of the decade, you guys have, like I said, you just relaunched Assassin with a powerful formula. What's the goals? Where do you plan to take Apollon in 2020?
Well, I think the goal is right now just to keep getting better, and I feel like from year to year, ever since we launched, I like, just before the podcast when we got to know each other, I guess, formally, I said that I like progress. I mean, everything to me is about progress and about raising the bar a little bit more and more and more. I don't like to be in the same place. I don't like to be stuck. To me, the level of success is you have to be better in no matter what you do. That's my personal belief, so I'm not going to say that everybody should believe that. But I don't like, if I look the same, if my body doesn't improve, if my knowledge doesn't improve, if my products don't improve, then I get bored. I need to challenge myself constantly. So going from the launching of our products 5 years ago, when you probably didn't even know about us, I think from year to year, we were getting better with more products on the market, better products, better labels, better formulas, better flavors. And I like that because I can definitely go back and say how 1 year was better than the next one. And in 2019, I would say that was kind of like a breakthrough year for us finally. We had a very slow and organic growth considering how small the company was. And I still call us a small company because we have absolutely no interest of getting investors and partners and stuff like that. I believe that, the core of a company should not change. I think that you can still improve based on what you have. And I know, I want to stay in our lane. I don't want to step on anyone's toes. I don't want to go to different markets or stuff like that. Plus, we have very, very loyal following. And I feel like by going somewhere else, I would betray them, so to speak. So I want to do what we do best, and that is deliver kick-ass products. I want our pre-workouts to be the strongest, the best pre-workouts on the market, and not just saying it, like every other company that releases a pre-workout that has 3 ingredients in it, and all of a sudden they say like, oh, this is game changer. I already know off by heart everything that everybody says. There is a new era in pre-workouts. This one is the best. That one is the best. I want to have the best. I want to be able to put my label against anyone's label and say that this is the best in its category, because like you and I had a conversation before, I don't believe in best pre-workouts because there are so many different agendas and goals and sports. There is endurance product, there is non-stim product, there is a stim product, there is a pump product. There are so many of them. But whatever category you're going to put our product, I want to be the best. It's just my personal, it's not even about business. It's not about money. It's just me being a competitor, with myself. I want the next Hooligan to be better than the previous one. So to answer the question, I want 2020 to be better than 2019. And that this might come actually a little corny, but the fact that I'm talking to you, who I feel is one of the best in the business, if not the best at what you do, this was, I'm not even denying it, a dream come true, and the only podcast that I was actually nervous to do. So the fact that we are here with Stack3d and with you, I think that this is like where I can say we finally arrived, and I'm not planning on leaving. So I want you to get tired of me.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting year based on the start. One thing I actually liked about Apollon and that you just mentioned there is how often you relaunch supplements, because there are brands out there that do well, but they have the same kind of pre-workout as that they had 3-4 years ago, and to think that you want to evolve and change and improve year on year, obviously you like to improve your stuff quite frequently. So I was curious, how often do you actually update your supplements? Because as I mentioned, you just relaunched Assassin with a new formula. So I'm curious what the process is for you guys. Is it when you see a new ingredient, or you just want to try and tweak it that little bit extra? How much effort and that just goes into these evolutions of each of the supplements, including Hooligan and Assassin?
Well, number one, the market is very, very competitive, and there are always innovations. So, for example, if you take our protein, I really believe in this formula. It's fully transparent. It has 50% casein and 50% isolate. I believe it's a great combination of the fast and slow digesting proteins. And in my opinion, and based on a few studies, that's the best combination there is. So this formula did not change. For the past 5 years, it's been the same, and I don't see a reason of changing it. I might actually, we are planning to release an isolate later in the year, but to be honest with you, it's not because I think it's superior. In fact, I still think that the 50-50 formula is superior to just isolate, but there is demand for isolate, and it's about business, it's about money, and it's about growth. If there is a demand, we'll supply it. That's no problem at all. It's still going to be a kick-ass isolate. It's going to taste great because we're going to make sure it does. Everybody at the gym, all our members are going to try it before it's released. There's going to be a survey. I mean, that's the way we do things. But when it comes to, for example, pre-workout, Hooligan has 4 different versions. Every year there was a different version. Oh, wow. This is a 5th year. This is a 5th year now. We're going to have a 5th version later this year. There's going to be a 6th one next year because new ingredients are coming out, more data is coming out, more knowledge is coming out. And I believe when it comes to a pre-workout or a fat burner, you can definitely update it. If not every year, probably every other year. I'm not a big believer that we should have a million flavors. I just don't see a reason. I mean, when it comes to protein, chocolate and vanilla are always going to rule. So you might have 3 or 4 flavors, and I really think it's enough. There is no need. When it comes to pre-workout, however, I believe you can definitely improve on a flavor. On a formula, and that's what we're doing. So the next one's going to be definitely better because pre-workout, I can actually look at it as Sean Ray once said that the reason why he was so consistent and he was a top 10 bodybuilder for, I believe, 10 or 11 years, maybe even 12, I think 12, is because he never saw satisfaction in the mirror. I release a product and I'm automatically looking for improvements. Actually, before we released the current formula of Hooligan, I already had the next one done.
Oh, wow.
So I just believe that you can always evolve. And don't forget, I mean, it is still a competition. It's a competitive market. And obviously, there is no such thing as protecting your formulas because, anyone can copy you. And especially, we are not proprietary blends. So what you see is what you get. It's very, very easy for anyone to come and copy our product. In fact, one of our manufacturers was asked by somebody to make him exactly the same product as Apollon, and that's a true story. So, yeah, I think that, we released Overtime, I think maybe 6 months ago, and it literally exploded on the market as a nootropic energy kind of a product. And I already saw that this could be like a little improvement. So the next Overtime that we are releasing, which is like 6 months after the first one was launched, is already an improvement. We slightly changed the formula already, so it's going to be. So I'm going to change it as often as I feel like it, and as often because I feel like there are different ingredients and different products are coming on the market every time. I'm very, very good friends with Robert Shinetsky, the supplement engineer, and we bullshit on a daily basis pretty much. And sometimes he will give me an idea, and he's one of those guys that will have every fucking proof in a book to show you why this certain ingredient is better than the other one. So we'll update it. Bare Knuckle was released, which is our non-stim formula, was released a couple of months ago, maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And the next version is already in the works.
Well, yeah, it just seems that you are constantly improving the formulas, which at the end of the day, for the consumers, for the fans, is just awesome when you can offer something on another level and improve it. And it's just, like I said, we talk to a lot of companies, we work with a lot of brands, and it's just you don't see that sort of almost clockwork type improvement and evolution that often. It's generally every few years or so. I think there's probably only 2 or 3 brands that I could think off the top of my head that have done constant tweaks and changes as often as you guys, which again is at the end of the day, it's just wins for the consumer. The next question I'd like to move on to is in terms of the categories of supplements you do, and while you have been known for your pre-workouts with Hooligan and Assassin, and of course even Nootropic with Overtime, is there a category that you're planning on entering for the first time, like a new type of supplement that, whether it's coming soon or later in the year, is there a category that you're eyeing up and that you just haven't done before? And if so, what's what drew you to that area of the market?
Well, one of the main aspects, we actually already released the product. So I'm just gonna try. Well, not gonna try. I'm definitely gonna make it even better in the next year or so. I noticed that the supplement market did not have a very good pre-workout for endurance athletes. That's what I noticed. Like most of the pre-workouts, when you see, it's always pump, 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 pump. I want to have the craziest pump. So when I was training Muay Thai in Thailand and I started doing a little bit of clinch work, I actually took Hooligan. And after maybe doing 2 rounds of clenching, I was like, what the fuck? I can't move my arms. They so pumped and so tired. I'm like, I just took 600 milligrams of caffeine. How come I'm so fucking exhausted? So I think my daughter was with me and my wife, and I approached him. I was like, this is the shittiest pre-workout ever invented. And I was like, holy shit, I just said that about my pre-workout. But the truth is, I thought Hooligan was absolutely terrible. Even though some fighters love it, I did not like it. I thought that much citrulline and pump ingredients in a product that when you have to wrestle or something like that, I think, for you, like, you told me that you used to swim. I think it's a terrible product for a swimmer. I think you will get exhausted and it won't work. So that's when I decided that we have to do something for people that do endurance. No pump, just long-lasting energy and something to help with stamina. So we released a product called Kumite because by now everybody knows I'm a huge Jean-Claude Van Damme fan. So it was based on blood sport. We even trademarked the name, so now it belongs to me. So I think that going more into area of endurance athletes, CrossFit and stuff like that, you can still release a badass hardcore pre-workouts that will suit their needs a little bit more and don't just focus on specifically lifters, powerlifters, bodybuilders, etc., etc. So I would like to do that, and I've been thinking about this idea of having something for breakfast that will pretty much, be something like eggs and oatmeal, but more like ready to consume right away, just like a formula like that, something that definitely interests me a lot. Other than that, I just want to perfect what we have.
That's to be honest, that sounds like just an awesome plan. I like your basically the categories that you think would be cool and be interesting, because a lot of the time I guess for us, we're more used to seeing brands, coming out with, when collagen products are popular, everyone does a collagen, and when, citrulline-driven products are popular, everyone does that. So it's refreshing to hear, I guess, the new take and the angles that you're going about with the supplements. So another interesting point because we have a worldwide audience at Stacked, or Stack3d, as people come to say. We can be read all over the world in several different countries. As far as Apollon's distribution worldwide goes, because you are obviously US based with the big reach in the US, are there any other countries that you can be found, or are there any countries that you're expanding into, whether it be soon or later in the year, or that you're planning to hit?
Well, right now we starting distribution in UK, which we have a very good partner who actually distributes in Europe, and it seems like that partnership is growing, and the demand is absolutely through the roof. We just got legalized in Russia, where we're going to be able to sell legally our products, and it's actually not just Russia; it's Russia, Belarus, and Kazakhstan.
Oh wow!
So that's a huge chunk of Europe and Asia, so to speak, where we're going to be present as of actually this year, 2020. We just got approved. We just received the certificates a little while ago. So right now we're working on already ordering the products for that market, because obviously hooligan cannot be hooligan in Russia, because they have they have their own restrictions, and you would think that Russians are very, very liberal when it comes to it, but God, they strict. So our hooligan's going to look more like hooligan light, I would say.
Simpler version.
It's going to be a simpler version for sure. But again, there are a lot of products that are sold in Russia, but they basically, as much as I hate the word smuggled, but they smuggled illegally and they sold in Russia. In supplement stores and everywhere else, but that's a very, very small scale. And I'll admit we've done it too, because everybody has done it. But now we're going to be able to actually ship containers, pallets, and it's 100% legal. And we're going to be able to hit the entire Russia, which gives us, a huge market. And I still believe that there's going to be no other brand that's going to come close to what we're going to be offering over there. So I'm super, super excited about it.
I was going to say, because moving into these countries, and I find this with a lot of brands, generally, or I would say not generally, but a lot of the companies that go into the likes of the UK and Australia and Asia is, they'll see ingredients they're not allowed, and if they have them, they'll take them out. Is your approach, I can almost imagine this is your approach, but with these restrictions in certain countries that you go into, are you planning, I guess, to make a hardcore or I guess an intense formula based on their restrictions, or will you just be doing the typical thing, I guess, and just taking out things you're not allowed, or will it really be just an intense formula built around what you can have in the country and the continent and stuff like that?
You know what? I think that if you're doing it legally, meaning you exporting the product legally to a country where you're going to be allowed to sell the product, no hassle, no headache, no nothing like that, I think you kind of have to abide by the rules.
Yeah.
So you have to respect, obviously what their guidelines are, and of course, every country is different.
Yeah.
And I just talked to Lucas about it, who promised that he's going to teach me about it, because I don't know shit about Europe. So he's going to have to, he told me that he's going to have like a little one-on-one with me where he's going to be explaining to me like what's, allowed, what's not allowed. And you have to respect that. If you're planning to expand your business, I always believe that if you're doing something kind of, again, hate the word illegal, but it is illegal to bring something that is not allowed in a country, and you're selling it kind of under the table. Will you make money? Of course you'll make money, but you're not going to be able to make as much money and not be as successful as bringing something legally. And if you want to bring something legally, then you have to respect the rules of that country, whether you like it or not. And I think the perfect example would be Assassin. Assassin, the first version of Assassin was DMA-based product. Once DMA got banned, we switched to DMHA, even though I wasn't a big fan of switching from DMA to DMHA. But we gave it a shot, and we formulated something that was actually better than the previous version. Once DMHA came into question, I said, you know what, with popularity of Apollon growing and expanding, I don't want illegal substances. Yeah. I don't want nothing that is banned. I don't want nothing that is gray area, because I believe you're playing with fire. And especially in this industry where you have not just fans, but obviously haters. I mean, it comes with a territory. You don't want to create any dangerous situations for your brand. So I said last year when DMHA came under fire and basically borderline like a gray area product, I said, you know what, fuck Assassin, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not, I never even liked it, to be honest, that much. So I was like, you know what, it's okay, we don't need it. But the demand was through the roof. Give us Assassin, give us Assassin, give us Assassin. I tried to be respectful and nice and tell people, guys, we're not doing DMAA, we're not doing DMHA. Yeah, but these guys are doing it. I said, fuck these guys. I don't care who's doing what. I don't care that you're buying product that says for research purposes, but it's actually a pre-workout that is done in somebody's bathtub, and God knows what the consequences, and you don't even know what's inside the product. I said, I'm not doing it. Finally, I came around and I said, you know what, I'll give it a shot. I'll try to come up with a formula for assassin that's going to be just as strong, but without anything illegal or anything that is, potentially about to get banned or something like that. So I kept going back and forth. Finally, we came up with a formula that actually seems like it's superior to any other assassin that we used to have. People absolutely love it. So again, we were able to come up with something, even though it was a lot of work, it was very, very challenging, but you're able to deliver what the guidelines are in different countries or whatever, and I think that's the way of doing it. We can say, maybe there's a country that allows only 50 milligram of caffeine. Sucks. But you know what? That's their rules, and you have to respect it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like that is the ideal plan. I was curious if you would be sort of like, basically, for example, when some companies in Europe, you're not allowed agmatine. Some companies not just take it out, they add other ingredients in to make up for that loss or whatever. So it sounds like that's pretty much what you'll be doing, formulating for the guidelines and just making sure, I guess, fans all around the world get that premium Apollon experience. So in the UK, how long have you guys been available in the UK?
We just got a distributor there literally a couple of months ago. It's still going through a process, but the demand, demand is pretty good.
So is the, as I mentioned, the goal obviously for 2020 for Apollon is to expand and just grow. Will you be planning more expansion, I guess, because with Europe being a huge market, and as you said, with Russia and a little bit of Asia, you plan to head down to Australia? Because from my perspective, that is another equally growing and big market, but of course that comes with its own restrictions as well.
Well, we got contacted by a company from Australia who distribute in Australia, and they distribute in New Zealand. They got in touch with us, but this is a company that is legit, which I respect and I like it. So they told us that they asked us actually to send them samples. We sent them samples, I think, a couple of weeks ago. They received and they liked what they saw. They sent us an email, a very comprehensive email, and they said, like, this is allowed, this is allowed, this is not allowed, this has to be lower. And we looked at it, and to be honest with you, there was nothing outrageous. I mean, I expected that Assassin and Hooligan are going to have to behave a little bit better. So that was fully expected. Every other product that we have seemed to be compliant with what Australia is looking for. So again, because the company is relatively small and there's only so much we can do, step by step, we're going towards that goal. So Australia and New Zealand is definitely something we're working on right now. We are overwhelmed, we are short-staffed, and I like it that way because that kind of keeps it more of a family environment and easier. It's the same team, and I'm old school. I want to stay as original as possible. But Australia and New Zealand is definitely in the works right now. And when it comes to Europe, like I said, because of all the regulations and a few things that Lucas scared me about, I'm gonna consult with him, gonna pick his brain. And when he told me, he says, you have to come to FIBA. I'm like, okay, I'm booking a ticket. I'm like, so now I'm going to FIBA.
We'll be seeing you there. We're going to be attending FIBA as we've done for the last 3 or 4 years, I think. It's easily the biggest show in my mind in the world. You don't get as many US brands. There are a few, but it is just dominated by just companies spread throughout the continent, UK, a lot from Germany, of course, because it is in Germany. So to close out the episode, basically, what can we expect to see from Apollon outside of the the new Assassin breaking out even into more areas and retailers and your further distribution around the world? What can we expect to see from Apollon, I guess, in the next month or two, on top of course, that the new version of Overtime?
Well, we're releasing, I believe next week we're going to release Chaos, which is our fat burner, and it was already featured on Stack3d,
Yes.
so thank you so much. Um, yeah, Chaos is going to be released next week, and it's definitely an improved version of what we used to have, and I'm extremely proud of that one. Over time, we're releasing probably anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks. That's going to be a new version as well. And then I think within the next month, 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to release a new version of our intra workout, which is Enigma. And that's going to have
Wow.
a major, major, major changes to it. Later on, I will send you the formula so you can have a look. I mean, that's going to be quite shocking, I would say, because we went pretty far with this one. I mean, that was in the works for the past, I would say, year.
Oh, wow. Shit.
So, yeah, so those four products, including Assassin, basically kind of dominated the current 2 months or beginning of the year, if you may. And then we're going to switch our focus definitely on Isolate, the testosterone booster that we used to have under Anarchy Labs. All the Anarchy Labs are going to be now under Apollon brand, so everything is going to be under one umbrella. So we're going to redo that. And we're going to definitely add a surprise flavor in protein, which is going to be seasonal. Again, we had 4 flavors for the past 3 years or 4 years. So we're going to release just a seasonal flavor that, whether it stays permanent or not, it's going to be, it remains to be seen. And more product awareness, more brand awareness. So we want to definitely work with, with you, of course, because I think that this is a great platform to introduce what we have to a wider audience, which I believe we quiet there right now. I think that, I wanted it to be slow and steady, the growth. I didn't want to explode on the market, put everything into one basket and then just fizzle like a lot of other brands. So I think working with you will definitely help us establish ourselves as the premium brand when it comes to hardcore supplements, and just to make sure, like I said earlier, not to deviate for a plan and not to be somebody we're not.
Awesome. So it basically sounds like it's a jam-packed first 3-4 months of the year for Apollon. As I mentioned, Assassin alone is based on the formula, which I'm going to be trying with Lucas. He will greatly appreciate that we're mentioning his name in this podcast. In fact, I expect to get a message from him about this mention tomorrow. But I'm going to be trying that with him at FIBO, I believe, for the first time, which he's pretty amped because he said Assassin was easily the best, one of the best, strongest pre-workouts he's tried, and that's feedback to be respected coming from him. But we've also got Chaos the Fat Burner, the new and improved one, an even better version of Overtime, and then we have an intro workout apparently. Been in the works for a year, which I'm interested.
I'm gonna be like a drug dealer smuggling stuff into Germany.
It's gonna be. It sounds like it's just jam-packed first half of the year, and I think it's well deserved because I mentioned to you before we started this, Apollon has built, like, I didn't know it was been around for 5 years, but it's just kind of a testament to how long and I guess gradual you guys have grown such a strong following and reputation, so you've definitely got a good base to build on, and I'm excited to see where 2020 goes. Thank you for stopping by and doing the interview.
Thank you, Shane. I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.